Hi guys, welcome back to Nyx Reads. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe if you love watching bookish content. This is my summer reading vlog. I filmed this in between June and August, and this is future editing me, because it started out as an entirely different video. It didn't quite work out. So now we're gonna pivot to just following what I've been reading and doing throughout the summer. I ended up filming some reading updates here and there, and I tried editing it together to make a cohesive reading vlog, the last summer vlog of the year. We're gonna jump right into the vlog, and the first book that I'm reading is 8 Strings by Margaret Derosia. And this book is an enthralling coming-of-age debut novel about a young woman in the late 19th century Venice who becomes a man to join the male-dominated world of the theater as a puppeteer. I've never heard about this book before. I just saw it in the library and I loved the cover and I thought that the plot sounded very cool, so I decided to pick it up and take it with me for the summer. Hi friends, it's been a really nice beginning of summer so far, and today's a very special day. I am not at home, as you probably guessed. I am in a beautiful chalet that we have rented, or my boyfriend's parents have rented over the weekend, because he's turning 30 today. It's his birthday, it's a big one. So yeah, we're celebrating with friends and family. I did bring the book in hopes of finally have a bit of downtime to read, but you know, we've just been hanging out with friends and playing a bunch of board games and card games. So I think I'm not going to be able to finish this book this weekend like I hope I would. The pace of the story is very appropriate for a YA, I would say, because everything moves fairly quickly. The book is fine so far. I don't love it. I don't get this feeling of, wow, this is going to be a favorite or 5-star, but we still have some ways to go. I'm hoping that this is going to go from feeling more like a 3-star to towards the 4-star mark. I'm gonna go now and put up some more decorations. You don't see it, but there's already quite a few balloons here, and finish setting up the birthday cake. If the weather clears, we might go kayaking. If not, we're just gonna stay inside and play some more card games. I don't know if you can hear the wind, but I'm sitting in this patio that's surrounded by mosquito nets, but it's technically open. It's such a gorgeous place to relax in and read. Hey friends, it's a few days later. I just came home from the gym, hence my shiny appearance. And yes, that is my chair, or in this case, stool of clothes. Do you have one of these at home? The place where you just throw all of your clothes on. It's been a few days since I came home from my weekend away, which was really nice, but I haven't read a single word or a page since I came home. I guess I don't feel the need to keep reading. I have to really push myself to do so. I do want to stress that this is not the book's or the author's fault at all. It's just this weird time in the summer where you're so distracted, or I'm so busy with other things and now preparing for a vacation. So I need a book that I am 100% excited about, a book that I really want to pick up, and if it's not that, I'm just not gonna make time for reading at all, and that is unfortunately what is happening with this. If I try to make myself finish this book, I foresee myself not finishing any other book before I leave for vacation, and that would be a shame. So I'd rather put a hold on this, and because I cannot 100% say that I will circle back to this, even though I'm open to it, I'm still going to mark it as DNF. Ultimately, the writing in this book is very simplistic because it has a younger audience in mind, which is completely fine. Lastly, I have a feeling that I already know how this book will end, or at least the key points in it, because the most intriguing part to me was the fact that Franco finds himself in this new person and then meets Nita, the childhood friend, and they fall in love with each other. And right from the get-go, Nita knows that Franco used to be Francesca, but keeps a secret. So in a way, I feel like there's no question in mind that these two are going to fall in love and develop a beautiful relationship with each other. At the same time, Franco is evolving in his role as apprentice in the theater, and I'm also convinced that this is kind of how it ends because it is YA, so it cannot be too complicated. Does that make sense? which means that there's not a lot of intrigue left in here for me. This was unfortunately not the time and place for me to read this book, but if you're watching this video and you're thinking that a story about a trans man set in Venice in the 1900s with a backdrop of a marionette theater, if that sounds good to you, then you should pick this book up because a lot of people seem to really like it. Hello friends, it's been a few weeks since I checked in with you. I am in Germany at my parents' place and I've been here for the last week and a half, I would say. It feels longer than that because I did so many things. I barely read, but did a lot of activities. We had 2 birthdays that we celebrated. I met up with some friends that I haven't seen in a while, and I also have 2 friends from Montreal that came and visited me here in my hometown, which was super exciting. So we did a bunch of touristy things. It's interesting to be a tourist in your own city because I barely know anything about my city where I grew up in. Do you feel the same, or do you feel like you know your city very well and you have a huge list of things to do for visitors? I had to Google a bunch of things. Some of the fun things we did is visit a castle that is by the Rhine. Then we also did acrobanche. I don't know what the English word is, but it's when you're in a harness and it's obstacles that are in between the trees. Sometimes it's zip lines, but sometimes it's actual obstacles that you have to kind of climb over. It's pretty tough. I don't know if they're gone, but I had bruises everywhere on my arm from like holding on to dear life. So I'm having a lot of fun, but it also means that I've been reading the same book for a month now, which is this one here. It's Totenfang by Simon Beckett. This is number 5 in the David Hunter series. David Hunter is an anthropologist, former doctor who sometimes works with the police to help them identify how long, let's say, a corpse has been lying around in the woods. So we get to see crime through that lens, which is very interesting. If you've never read a Simon Beckett before, I would just start with is it called The Chemistry of Death, the first one, because it's just also the best. In this book, David Hunter is getting ready to visit his friends for a long weekend, but then he gets a call from the police saying that they found a body in the marshland and he needs to go up there and help out. So now I still have a bit over 100 pages to go, and I don't know, it's still a bit meh to me. I don't know if this is going to be better than a 3 stars. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not loving it, but I will finish it. The reason why I picked this up in the first place is because I thought that this is going to be a super fast-paced thriller, and I'm starting to realize about myself that maybe I don't need a light summer romance read when I feel like my reading has slowed down. I need something to pick it back up, something like a thriller, because I love thrillers. It's not exactly a page turner, but that's okay. I have other fun stuff coming up, so reading is taking a bit of a backseat this summer, which I will show you those activities because I'm very excited about them. A book that I did finish yesterday is Like Water for Chocolate by Laura Esquivel. I read the translation by Thomas Christensen. This was published in Mexico. It was written in Spanish. I really liked this. I gave this 5 stars. I think I read it at the exact right time because this ended up being a fun, quite fast-paced magical realism novel that I think is great to read during the summer. This is a magical and extremely melodramatic story about Nita. She is a young girl that grows up on a ranch near the Mexican-American border during the Revolution. As the youngest in the family, her fate is to never marry and to grow up taking care of her mother, Mama Elena. But she falls in love with a young man named Pedro. But because she's not allowed to marry him, he instead is to marry her sister Rosaura instead. You have to suspend your disbelief because there's magical realism in this, which I personally really enjoyed, but also suspend your disbelief with the romance aspect because it is extremely insta-love. And you know, this is a book written in the 90s, so you have to also be okay with, you know, the, let's say, the role of females in this book to be a bit skewed. So once you look past those things, I think you will really enjoy this. It is over the top, super exaggerated. It is so melodramatic. It is dripping with passion and longing and sensuality, and in all of this, food plays a huge role in this book. So this is a book in different installments, and you always get a recipe in between the chapters too, because part of the magic in this world is tied to the food. I listened to this as audio. I just really enjoyed it. It was so much fun. And it reminds me a lot of 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. It makes me want to reread that book actually. So maybe this is just my thing, magical realism set in Latin or South America. Maybe once I'm back from vacation, I'm going to try to find a copy of the movie adaptation to watch, because apparently it's fantastic. It is day 2 in Munich, and today is Taylor Swift Eras Tour Day. I can't believe it's here. We've had the tickets for a year now. Yesterday and today we took a little bit of time to explore the city, but obviously we also made time to make a few friendship bracelets. We are about to get ready for the show all together, but before that I wanted to talk to you about the books that I mentioned in the last clip. So I finished the Simon Beckett book. I keep forgetting what it's called in English, The Restless Dead. So book number 5, On the Train to Munich. And I think I'm gonna settle on like a 3 or even, no, 2.5 sounds a bit harsh. So maybe a 3-star, just because it didn't really pick up towards the end. I still find that the crime and the circumstances around it, they just really didn't catch my attention. There was one moment towards the end where I did get a bit emotional. I think that shows that the writing itself is pretty good. I have really no complaints about it, but at the same time, it's not outstanding in a way that I want to praise it. I also think that Dr. Hunter, as an forensic anthropologist, he didn't really do a lot of work in this book. His work wasn't in the forefront of the story, which I think is the strongest part in this series, because it's so unique and incredibly interesting, because I know that the author researches on this topic a lot when he writes books. I might continue the series. There's already 2 more books out, but I'm also not prioritizing it. Then also on the train, I started Isabel Allende's A Long Petal of the Sea. Have not heard of this book before, but definitely have heard of Isabel Allende before. It's my first book by this author, and so far so good. I only maybe 20 pages in, but I can already tell that the quality of writing seems to be very promising in this one. And I'm also not sure what this is about. So right now we're in the late 1930s civil war in Spain. Right now we're following a young doctor, so we'll see how this is gonna go, but I think it's gonna be good. Then I also started an audiobook while I was on the train. It was a long train ride. I started listening to My Sister the Serial Killer. I can't say a lot about this book yet because I've only listened to a few minutes of this book, but the chapters are very short, so I think I already listened to 3 or 4. And now I'm thinking of leaving this book in this Airbnb that we rented, because I don't really care about this book too much and it's quite thick. I don't really need a physical copy of this, so I think I'm gonna leave it here as a present for the host or for the next guest, because they have a big bookshelf here. Let me show you. In one of the bedrooms they have this bookshelf where they have a few travel guides, but then they have a good selection of fiction books here and quite a few thrillers. That's why I think this book would kind of fit in here. Let me maybe put this book, oops, sorry, here, in between Claim Potok, okay, I don't know what that book is, and Netefok. There you go. Hey guys, I made it to Portugal. I am in Porto. I flew very, very early out this morning, so excuse this extremely greasy appearance, but we just checked in to this beautiful vineyard hotel here outside of Porto for our very good friend's wedding. And we just got our room and I needed to show you because this is the most beautiful hotel I've ever stayed in. Let me give you a little tour before I start putting my stuff all around the room and it's gonna look like a mess. Right by the entrance there is the bathroom and we have this beautiful double sink. We have an open shower like this. Walking into the living room part, you have a very cozy looking sofa and there's a little TV. Then this is like a divider, but also like a wardrobe. Then back here you have the extremely cozy looking bed. And the most spectacular thing is the terrace. This is just for us. Let's step outside. This is absolutely stunning. Look at this. You have a pool, the vineyard. What more could you want? Hi friends, happy Saturday. It is now the very end of August. I've been back home for 2 weeks now. Portugal was absolutely beautiful. So in the end, I saw Porto. We went to Lisbon and then me, my friend and her husband went down to the Algarve, which is really beautiful. So we saw multiple beaches there and did like a kayak, Benadryl cave tour. It was so much fun. We ate so well. We obviously had so much fish and seafood, sardines and cod of course, but also a lot of octopus. I've never eaten such fresh and just tender octopus in my life. It was absolutely brilliant. Then last week my family actually came here from Germany to visit me because I turned 30 years old, the big 3-0. I did ask for a Barbie themed birthday, but not Barbie the Greta Gerwig movie, but Barbie the animated movies that my sisters and I used to watch when we were younger. I don't know if you're watching this, if you know them, but does like Rapunzel, the Nutcracker, the Princess and the Pauper, Romania mean anything to you? That's what I'm referring to. And my sisters made me the most beautiful Barbie cake. I've never gotten a cake like this in my life, so that was the first. And then my boyfriend's mom, for my birthday barbecue the next day, also got me a beautiful red velvet cake with the Barbie logo on it, so that was really nice. And now I'm actually up in a chalet again with our families, just to have like a special weekend that we can spend together while my parents and my siblings are here. And you can't see it, but we're once again right by a lake. It's raining right now. I don't know if you can hear the raindrops, but they're pitter-pattering on the tin roof, which is actually very cozy. But we're hoping that the rain's gonna stop at some point so we can go kayaking or use the pedal boat or swim, but I think the water might be a bit too cold. So while I'm sitting out here, I figured I'm gonna update you on my reading situation. So I am still reading Isabel Allende's A Long Petal of the Sea. And I am at page 128, so this is maybe like a third of the way into it, and I am really enjoying this. So the cool thing about this is, so this is about Spain in the 30s, right before the Second World War begins. Allende definitely has her way with words. The writing is beautiful, although it is a bit slower, which is why I'm kind of taking a break of this and switch to something a bit more fast-paced, because I'm a bit behind on my reading, and while I'm enjoying it, sometimes I do like something a bit faster, but it feels like you're a step removed from them. You don't, or at least I'm not very attached to the characters yet. I don't know if that is to come or if it's gonna stay more as like this story of their lives without being too close to them. This is also my first Allende book, as I mentioned, so I'm not sure if this is maybe just her writing style in general, but it does read very well, but just not very emotional. And when I got back home, I picked up this book from my own bookcase. So it's Karin Slaughter's False Witness. This is my first Karin Slaughter book, and it was one of my goals this year to finally read one of her thrillers because she's a highly acclaimed writer. I've heard mixed reviews in the sense that a lot of the thriller readers that I follow on YouTube, they seem to love her, but some people also say that she's way too graphic when it comes to violence against women. The main character, or one of the main characters in this book, is Lee. She is a very successful lawyer, a mom, a wife, although she's at the moment a bit separated from her husband, and this is actually during or right after COVID. She gets assigned a case to defend a man who's been accused of multiple counts of sexual assault. And this brings us back to something terrible that had happened in her past. And the moments that the author picks to really put tension in the story are excellently crafted. Because I, for example, in particular, remember when I was exactly at halfway through the book, there was one moment there where I was like, okay, wow, I am really uncomfortable now, but it really spoke for the pacing of this book and the writing. I do agree that the scenes of violence against women are very detailedly described, so huge trigger warning for sexual assault. I think it's walking this fine line of making the reader face the reality of such brutal violence, but at the same time it feels a bit gratuitous at times, but it's also just because I'm so uncomfortable and it's not something I want to read. But nothing in here described is not anything that does not happen in real life, which makes it even scarier. It is absolutely suspenseful, so I do not want to put this down. I want to finish it this weekend. And right now I am listening to The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. As you know, I absolutely love The Maid by Nita Prose. This is the second book, and I just decided I'm going to reread it, or in this case, I read it the first time around with a physical book, and now I'm listening to it. So that's what I've been up to reading-wise, and I am now more than ever ready for fall. I am so excited to bake cinnamon rolls when I go back home. This is where I'm going to end this vlog. I hope you enjoyed watching bits and pieces of what I was up to this summer and seeing what I was reading. Even though I didn't read that many books in total, I found 2 new favorites. I already mentioned that I really loved Like Water for Chocolate. I still haven't watched the movie, by the way, but I did request it from the library. And the other book that I ended up really loving is False Witness. Sounds weird to say that I loved a book that was so violent, but I'm gonna link my monthly wrap up in the description down below, where you can hear in details what I thought about the book and why I liked it so much. Please let me know in the comments down below what you have been reading in the summer and if you found a new favorite. If you just want to let me know that you made it to this part of the vlog, why don't you leave me some kind of theater or puppet related emoji in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.